Part 79. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 781. Xianxia did not hesitate at all, let alone doubt that Yanxiangluo was not good. She had an inexplicable sense of trust in Yanxiangluo. She did not have this kind of trust in her own family, and she herself felt very strange. She knew that Yanxiangluo was a heavenly master, and that he was at a level unknown to the world. As long as he was not hostile to her, he would have a strong sense of trust when he got along with her. Yanxiangluo herself didn't know this yet. Yanxiangluo has been directing the battle and has not participated in the actual battle. Her combat effectiveness is still at its strongest now. Although it is not as high as Xianxia's cultivation level, her combat effectiveness is still stronger than that of Xianxia, who consumed too much. The experience in front of me is more about testing the level of ancient chess skills, and the requirements for combat effectiveness are not that high. Xianxia was not polite to her, and hung in mid-air to rest and recover his spiritual power. Yanxiangluo looked at the remaining chess pieces on her side and saw that the other side had the same chess pieces as her own. She knew that this was the time to show off her true chess skills. A soldier never tires of deceit, this is what her father and her grandmother from another life often said to her, so now she has to use this trick. Killing the opponent's commander does not have to be a chess piece with strong combat power. Any chess piece can kill the opponent's commander as long as there is a chance. Hence, she used the strongest flag as bait to attack the opponent, which was actually equivalent to sacrificing the chess piece. After sacrificing this chess piece, she lost in anyone's eyes. If the opponent wants to kill her most powerful chess piece, he must use the chess piece guarding the handsome man. This is her opportunity. The only soldier left on his side on the chessboard stood in an excellent position. As long as the opponent captured her strongest chess piece, the opponent's handsome man would be within the attack range of his other chess piece. Without her soldiers, he would not be able to retreat. If she retreats and gets eaten by her own chess piece, she wins. At this time, she was also very nervous. If the other party did not fall for the trick, she would definitely lose. Although its layout is very hidden, the opponent is not a living person after all. Even though Xianxia didn't know how to play chess, his heart was lifted when he saw her using the most powerful flag to die. Although I don't know the purpose of her doing this, I know that this is her strategic method. Therefore, she controlled herself not to say a word and never interfered with Yanxiangluo's decision. She just looked up at the time and saw that there was less than half an hour left. Her heart was extremely nervous. Can they break the ancient chess formation within the time limit? The opponent's chess piece moved and captured her strongest chess piece. Yanxiangluo breathed a sigh of relief. They won. She controlled the soldier to take a step forward and directly ate their handsome man. The entire chessboard disappeared in an instant, and the time suspended above their heads also disappeared. At the same time, a voice came from their ears. Pass through experience in Peace Valley. After the voice announcing that they had passed the test fell, 2 boxes fell from the void, causing a layer of dust to rise on the ground. Yanxiangluo and Xianxia looked at the box and then at each other. Yanxiangluo said, "This should be the reward after passing the level." Xianxia said in surprise, "It's so fair. Knowing that we are 2 people, we were given 2 boxes. I don't want any of them, so I'll give them both to you." Xianxia didn't know about rewards before. Even if she knew, she wouldn't argue with Yanxiangluo if they were the same. After all, it was mainly due to Yanxiangluo that she was able to successfully break the formation this time. She knew very well that without herself, Yanxiangluo could overcome the challenge alone. Yanxiangluo said, "We broke the formation together, and there are 2 boxes, 1 for each of us. You choose first." Xianxia shook his head and said, "You have the greatest credit for breaking the formation this time. You can break the formation without me. It's good that I can go through it with you. If I don't want it, I'll give it all to you. Yan Xianglue knew that He Siyun had a broad mind and was not a selfish person, but she was still touched that she could resist the temptation. Such people are almost rare in the mainland, and it is difficult to meet them again. 1. Why are you so polite? We hit it off as soon as we met, and we want to go to Zhongtian to be friends together. One for each of us, so don't refuse. We will get more rewards in the future, Yuan Xianglue said with a smile. Hearing what Yu Xianglue said, He Siyun no longer refused. In this case, I won't be polite to you. Don't worry, I'm not a selfish person who likes to take advantage. No matter what is in the box, I will accept it and I will never covet your share. You should choose first. Seeing that He Siyun had said this, Yan Xianglue said, in that case, we don't have to choose specially. What's on my side is mine, and what's on your side is yours. We don't need to open the box on the spot and collect it separately. Let's see after we get up and go back. He Siyun nodded in agreement. That's good. As soon as she said that, she put away the box in front of her. She felt very happy that she had not gained anything after coming in this time. However, she had borrowed the help of Yan Xianglue, so she had to treat her better. Yan Xianglue also neatly sent the box into Pangu space. She decided that all the gains from this trip would be stored in Pangu space first, and she would look at them when she finally leaves. Now that this level is passed and the harvest is packed in boxes, I'm afraid it will be the same next time. After putting away the box, He Siyun stretched out happily with a smile on his face. Xianglue, you are indeed my lucky star. I finally didn't come in vain this time. Yan Xianglue smiled. This is the first time I've been called a lucky star. He Siyun said in a cheerful tone, I'm determined to follow you this time when you come into practice. I will go wherever you go. Yan Xianglue did not agree. It was her first time coming in. Since it was an experience, there would be many unexpected situations, and she could not guarantee that the two of them would always be together. Moreover, she had to go to the place mentioned by ancestor Zimog Jikong, and her parents should also be going there. During this process, she could not guarantee that she would always be with He Siyun. However, with the intervention of her own destiny, He Siyun will definitely gain something when she comes in this time. Even if the two are separated, she will encounter her own opportunities. Moreover, Yan Xianglue is not worried about her safety. After all, her luck can perfectly avoid danger. Having been interfered with by his own destiny again, He Siyun only gains something from this trip, and even more under the rudimentary circumstances. He Siyun is the only one that Yan Xianglue has ever seen with this kind of special luck. Yan Xianglue watched the space of the scene change again after they broke the ancient chess formation, and continued to move forward without hesitation. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 782. He Siyun quickly followed Xianglue, looked at the clouds lying on her shoulders and asked curiously, Xianglue, I've been wanting to ask for a long time, are you keeping this spiritual pet for fun? It's really because she didn't see any powerful aura or power in Xuanhuan. Moreover, the cloud is still a small one, only as big as her fist, which is perfect for playing in the palm of her hand. She naturally thought that Xuanhuan was the play pet of Yan Xianglue's contract. There are also many spiritual pets in Xi continent, such as contracts for girls. She wanted one before, but then she contracted a war beast when she didn't find a spiritual pet she liked, so she gave up. Before Yan Xianglue said anything, Xuanhuan glanced at He Siyun with her small black eyes, and said to herself, you are the spiritual pet you keep for fun. I am a divine beast, the most powerful divine beast, a guy with long hair and short knowledge. He Siyun naturally didn't know that Xuanhuan had scolded her in his heart, and looked at Xuanhuan with interest. The cloud actually contained the aura of the divine beast, so that He Siyun could not sense the powerful aura of the divine beast on it. It is my contracted beast, called Xuanhuan. Although it looks small, Its fighting power is not weak. Yan Xianglue wanted to laugh when she heard Yun Tuan's thoughts, but she held it back and explained that although she couldn't directly tell He Si Yun that Yun Tuan was a divine beast, she could still save some honor for Yun Tuan. He Si Yun said in shock, such a small spiritual beast is actually a war beast, and its combat power is actually very strong. In her opinion, only powerful-looking war beasts can have strong fighting power, just like her war beast. This is the first time I have seen such a small beast, and it is quite powerful in combat. Yun Tuan scolded He Si Yun in his heart again, you are the war beast. I am a divine beast, the most powerful divine beast. Can a war beast compare with me? Let alone comparison, comparisons are all against me. Insult. Yan Xianglue reached out and touched the cloud to calm its irritable heart, and communicated with it with her spiritual consciousness, we need to keep a low profile and don't care about other people's opinions. No matter what others think, your strength and status cannot be reduced. Yun Tuan's irritable heart was immediately soothed, and he felt that his master was right, and it was not He Si Yun's decision to decide what it was. He is just an ignorant guy. When there is a chance in the future, he must let this woman named He Si Yun see his true strength, let her underestimate him and blind her. Xianglue, can I touch the cloud? The more He Si Yun looked at it, the more cute the cloud became. Holding such a small soft body in the palm of his hand felt like a kind of enjoyment. After hearing He Si Yun's words, Yun Tuan's hair immediately exploded. He couldn't bear this. Yan Xianglue quickly rubbed its small body to prevent it from attacking He Si Yun directly. He said to He Si Yun in a gentle tone, Yun Tuan doesn't like other people touching it. He Si Yun was a little disappointed when she heard this, but she also understood that war beasts are different from spiritual beasts that are kept for play. They all have their own personalities and do not like to be touched by people other than their owners. The same goes for her own war beasts. I was the one who was abrupt, and I am the only one who can touch my beast. He Si Yun actually also has a war beast. Yan Xianglue asked with interest, what is your war beast? He Si Yun generously released her battle beast from the spiritual pet space, and the sunlight in front of the two of them was instantly blocked. Yan Xianglue got goosebumps all over her body when she saw He Si Yun's battle beast. She really didn't expect that He Si Yun's war beast with such a cheerful personality, such a beautiful face, and such a good temper was actually a giant python. The reason why it is called a giant python is that even if it is coiled up, it is as high as a two-story building. Yun Tuan rolled his eyes in a rare move when he saw the dark eyes of He Si Yun's battle beast. This unpleasant woman's battle beast was indeed very annoying. No wonder she likes him so much and is her battle beast. It's so ugly. Yan Xianglue's mouth twitched. Looking at the giant python in front of him, he collected all the good words and sentences in his mind, and finally praised, your battle beast is so majestic and powerful. These were the words she could think of to praise He Si Yun's war beast after racking her brains. No more words. He Si Yun had a bright smile on his face and said, you are the first person who doesn't mind that my fighting beast is a python. As expected, we have very good tempers. Yan Xianglue's eyes even started to twitch this time. She just didn't say it, but she actually disliked it in her heart. She likes beautiful things, and so do people and spiritual pets. She didn't understand why He Si Yun chose a python as his war beast when he was so good looking. Without her having to ask, He Si Yun, who started talking, told her the story of how she contracted a python to be a war beast. Yan Xianglue once again has a deep understanding of He Si Yun's destiny. She can really avoid danger and then pick up the mistakes. This powerful python was actually the one she watched two people trap and fight with during a training. Both of them were injured and died. She happened to have no fighting beast herself, and this python was indeed very powerful, so she missed it. This was the first time that Yan Xianglue knew someone contracted a war beast like this. After all, she knew how difficult it was to get a war beast. Most people's war beasts are contracted when the war beasts are young, and some even contract before they become war beasts. Otherwise, not everyone's mental strength can withstand powerful war beasts, and they may not be able to. The contract was successful. Even if there are war beasts, few people let them out to fight. War beasts are usually used only at a critical moment of life and death, which is equivalent to one of their own life-saving means. Because once the war beast dies, the owner will also suffer the backlash. Even in the continental competition, Yan Xianglou didn't see many people asking war beasts to come out to help. He Siyun talked endlessly about her experience fighting with her beast. Xianglou, your beast is so small, how can it help you during the battle? Yuan Xianglou really couldn't answer this. After all, she had never really fought with Yun Tuan. Before she could think of what to say, Yun Tuan waved out her little claws, and the powerful force rushed towards He Siyun's war beast python. The originally coiled python sensed the danger and quickly avoided it. At that moment, there was a deafening sound from the place where it was, and then a large pit more than 10 meters deep appeared in front of us. He Siyun was stunned, and it took him a while to come back to his senses. He glanced at the cloud still lying on Yan Xiangluo's shoulder, and immediately took his war beast python back into the spiritual pet space. His battle beast is safe, He Siyun stuttered. Xianglou, your battle beast is indeed very powerful. Now He Siyun really believes that what Yan Xianglou said before about Yun Tuan's combat effectiveness is true. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 783. I don't know if it's because he knows Yun Tuan's combat power, but He Siyun doesn't find Yun Tuan cute anymore. Seeing the frightened He Siyun, Xianglou was helpless. This little strength frightened He Siyun. She knew very well that Yun Tuan actually didn't even use a level of strength. I didn't want to hurt the giant python, otherwise the giant python would be able to hide away. Yun Tuan didn't want to hurt your beast, and he didn't use all his strength, Yu Xianglou explained. She couldn't let He Siyun misunderstand that Yun Tuan had used all his strength to kill her beast. He Siyun said in shock, isn't this all the power? Yan Xianglou nodded, it just lets you see its combat effectiveness. She did not tell Yun Tuan's true strength, and if she continued to tell her, Yun Tuan's identity would be doubted. He Siyun patted his heart to calm his frightened little heart that was beating rapidly, and asked curiously, what kind of spiritual beast is your battle beast? Why haven't I seen it before? He Siyun was a little envious of Ruan Xianglou. Their war beasts could be used as war beasts and as spiritual pets for play. It was the best of both worlds. Yan Xianglou herself didn't know what kind of mythical beast Yun Tuan was. Even the 4 major mythical beasts could clearly distinguish their identities by their appearance. For example, Zhizhou Hong's white tiger, a mythical beast, has not returned to its original majestic appearance, but it still looks like a little white tiger. Although Yun Tuan has restored the divine beast, she can't tell her what kind of divine beast it is yet. Therefore, she couldn't answer He Siyun's question, but it seemed rude not to answer. Yan Xianglou immediately pointed forward, Siyun, there is someone in front. I thought to myself, these people showed up just in time. He Siyun looked in the direction that Yan Xianglou was pointing, you are such a human being. Oh my God, I am right to follow you. You are indeed my lucky star. I can actually see other people besides you, and also, not one, there are 6 of them. Yan Xiangluo's mouth twitched. Well, she couldn't hold out hope that He Siyun's thoughts would be normal. Let's go over quickly and see where they come from. Are they going to have some training again? What kind of treasure is there? Yan Xianglou pulled He Siyun up into the air and flew in the direction of those people. He Siyun was also interrupted by the person who appeared, and forgot to ask what kind of spiritual beast the cloud was. The two of them flew through the air and quickly arrived in front of the 6 people. From a distance, Yan Xianglou could see clearly that the 6 people were not from their Zhuoyuan continent. After all, she and Ji Zhizhong brought the people in Zhuoyuan continent. Even if she didn't know their names, she knew their faces. She was a little curious. There were a lot of people coming from the 9 Yuan continent. Why did she meet people from other continents? The 6 of them looked very embarrassed and exhausted. It was obvious that they must have experienced experiences beyond their strength. The experience was a bit intense. It seemed that all their strength had been consumed by the experience. The 6 people were very wary at first when they saw the 2 of them. After discovering that they were 2 women, they became much more relaxed. In the land of training, the biggest danger is not the place of training, but the people. In order to seize the treasure, many people will take action when the opponent is at their weakest. They are at their weakest right now, and they don't want to meet anyone trying to steal the treasure. He Siyun didn't think much about it. Seeing the 6 people, he asked directly, "Which continent are you from?" Before meeting Yuan Xianglou, He Siyun always thought that she could only meet people from their continent when she came in. However, after she met Yuan Xianglou, she realized that people from all continents could enter the training place, and it was also possible encountered. King Jun continent, which continent are the 2 girls from? A man answered He Siyun's words and asked back. He Siyun told the other party directly without any hesitation, "I am from Xi'ai continent, and she is from Zhuoyuan continent." The 6 of them heard that the 2 women they met were not from the same continent, so they had nothing to worry about. It was obvious that the 2 women met each other and were not companions. Don't go east. The experience in that direction is best for people above the level. Although the 6 of us have not broken through to the level, we are already at the peak of the 9th level of the saint level. If the 6 of us hadn't cooperated, we wouldn't have been able to. I'll tell them there. The man who was talking to them reminded them kindly. He Siyun glanced at the east side they were talking about and immediately told Yan Xianglou, "We don't want to go east." Yan Xianglou was just about to agree. After all, her cultivation level was only at the saint level. The 6 of them were all at the 9th level of the saint level, so they had to work together to get out. She didn't think she could fight beyond the level to that extent. But just when she was about to agree, Yun Tuan said, "Master, go to the east. Not only can the master get experience there, but it is also very beneficial for covering the sky." Yan Xianglou would naturally not doubt Yun Tuan, and there would be no problem in going by herself. However, He Siyun wanted to follow her, and she didn't want to go to the east by herself, as if he was deliberately abandoning her. Seeing that she didn't answer his question, He Siyun asked doubtfully, "You don't want to go east, do you?" Yan Xianglou nodded, "I came here just for training. I can't give up just because the level of the training place is high. I only have 1 month to go here. If all the places I encounter are high-level training places, am I still going to do it, avoid it?" He Siyun was stunned by her words. On the one hand, he felt that what Yan Xianglou said was reasonable. On the other hand, he felt that it was a bit irrational to go ahead even though he knew that he was not strong enough. Yan Xianglou said to He Siyun, "My decision is mine. There is no need for you to make a decision that you are unwilling to do. Your destiny has changed now. Even if we are not together, you will have good opportunities for experience." Yan Xianglou is not worried about He Siyun's safety. Who makes her luck so special? If she tries to take advantage of her, she is just seeking death. He Siyun thought for a while after listening to Yan Xianglou's words. "Xianglou, I'm sorry, I still don't want to go to a place that is too far beyond my own strength to experience." "Do you have to go?" Yan Xianglou nodded, "I have already decided, I must go." "Then I wish you good luck," He Siyun said sincerely. To be honest, she was reluctant to separate from Yan Xianglou. After all, it was because she met Yan Xianglou that she changed her destiny and got the opportunity when she came to the training place. In the experience just now, I had to borrow her help to get the reward. To be honest, I took advantage of Yan Xianglou. Before, she vowed that she would follow her, but just a short time later, she changed her decision. If Yan Xianglou felt that her words didn't count, she looked down on herself. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 784. Yan Xianglou smiled cheerfully, "You don't have to feel guilty. You just made the right choice for yourself. Everyone's choice is different. I don't know if we will meet again. If we can't meet again in the place of experience, don't forget made our agreement." Seeing that Yan Xianglou was not angry or unwilling to see her, Xianxia felt better and said, "Okay, I come in every year, and our Xi continent opens at this time. If you come in at this time, maybe there's still a chance to meet." Yan Xianglou thought to herself, "You are overthinking, our Xuanhuan continent only opens once every 3 years, and she may not have a chance to come in next time." But without saying it, he replied, "I hope we can meet again." In fact, if Xianxia didn't go with her, Yan Xianglou felt relieved. She had Xuanhuan and Pangu space with her. It was not difficult to save herself when her life was in crisis. If she took Xianxia with her, once she encountered a life-threatening situation, it's always troublesome. People have the luck to avoid danger, but she does not, and she cannot enter the Pangu space in front of her. Besides, Xuanhuan said that Dongmian could gain experience, which would be of great help to Zetian. She didn't want to explain Zetian's identity to Xianxia anymore. It took a lot of effort to get her to stop asking about Xuanhuan's identity. With the decision made, Yan Xianglou said goodbye to Xianxia without any further delay. "Xianxia, I'm leaving. See you again if we have the opportunity." Xianxia said reluctantly, "Maybe we can see each other again tomorrow." "I hope so." Yan Xianglou waved her hand and flew towards Yukong in the east. The 6 people saw Yan Xianglou running eastward, and they all shook their heads. It's just that they are young, and they don't know how high the sky is. They felt very uncomfortable because Yan Xianglou did not listen to their advice, as if they had lied. But I felt a little comforted when I thought that Xianxia listened to what they said and didn't listen. At least he was not stupid. Xianxia had no intention of leaving with the 6 of them. She walked towards the south until Yan Xianglou could no longer be seen. She believed what Yan Xianglou said. Since Yan Xianglou said that her destiny had changed and that she could gain something in the place of experience, she should cherish her time and look for her own experience opportunities. The 6 of them saw Xianxia walking towards the south, looked at each other, and continued walking towards the west. They didn't want to meet anyone again before they regained their strength. It was too dangerous. Not every time they would be so lucky to meet 2 fools like Yan Xianglou and Xianxia. In fact, if the 2 of them teamed up to rob them, they would have nothing to fight back now. Even so, they did not go blindly. A few days ago, they met a group of people who said that there is a treasure land in the west. Only those who are destined can enter it. Many people tried but failed to enter, but those who entered came out without exception. Their faces were full of joy all the time. Obviously they had gained a lot, so they also wanted to try their luck. If they hadn't encountered the place where they had experienced before on the way here, they would have arrived there long ago. Fortunately, they had obsession to support them, and the 6 of them put down their guard against each other and joined forces to break out together. This is also a good thing for them. They can have partners here, and it is much easier to advance and retreat together than to go alone. They have decided to go to the treasure land to try their luck together. If possible, the 6 of them will join forces. This is still a long way from the treasure land to the west. As long as they don't encounter other people, it will be enough for them to regain their strength. Yan Xiangluo's walking in the air is much faster than walking. The reason why those 6 people were all walking was because their spiritual power was almost exhausted and could not support them in flying in the air. In fact, even if they can support them in flying in the air, they will not waste their spiritual power like this. After all, in the land of training, they will encounter people with ulterior motives at any time, so it is necessary to preserve the strongest strength. This is why everyone I see here is walking. Yan Xiangloo flew in the air because she wanted to save time. I only know a rough location. Yan Xiangloo doesn't know the exact location, but she is surrounded by clouds. If the clouds tell her to fly in, she will fly wherever she goes. About half an hour later, Yun Tuan spoke, "Master, it's right in front, in the woods." Yan Xiangloo looked at the woods, and she really didn't feel like a place for training. She thought the 6 people before had entered by mistake to rest. After all, there was no tree on the way she came, and there were no trees in the woods for thousands of miles. A place that blocks the sun. People passing by here will definitely want to go in and rest for a while when they see the woods. This is also a place where you can't be on guard in the land of experience. She flew in the air for half an hour before arriving. The 6 people had walked away, and their spiritual energy was almost exhausted. They had been away from here for at least 1 night, and they had not recovered much spiritual energy, which showed what they had gone through inside. Yu Xiangloo did not go directly in, but fell outside the woods. Arrived outside the woods, Yun Tuan said to Jishan, "There is no one else inside, so you don't have to pretend, just go in quickly." With the master's presence, safety is not a problem, and the experience of covering the sky cannot be delayed. After all, the fastest way for a divine plant to improve its strength is to devour other divine plants that have not yet become divine plants like it. There are some divine plants here, and they are not just one. This is why it says that this place is an opportunity to cover the sky. After listening to her elder brother's order, Jishan immediately spoke to her master, fell down from her bun, turned into the tiniest vine, and went into the woods. Yan Xiangloo said worriedly, "Can Zetian practice it by himself?" Yun Tuan said, "If it wants to become a divine plant, it must experience it on its own. None of us can help it. Jishan not only needs to improve its strength, but also needs to devour other divine plants like it that have not yet become divine plants. It must do it on its own. You have to defeat the other party and devour the other party's spiritual power." After hearing Yun Tuan's words, Yan Xiangloo immediately understood that Zetian had gone to become a robber. Of course, if you are not strong enough, you may be devoured by the opponent. She doesn't think there's anything wrong with this approach. Each species' way of survival is different, just like the food chain she lived in another life. It's the law of nature, and here it can be said to be the rule of heaven. They monks are all strong and respect the survival of the fittest, and spiritual beasts and spiritual plants are just more so. She let out a long breath. Jishan has worked so hard, and I, the master, can't lag behind. Let's go in, too. Yun Tuan likes this about her master. Although she cherishes her life, she is not afraid of what she has to do, no matter how dangerous it is. Yan Xiangloo let go of her consciousness and walked into the woods. As soon as she stepped into the woods, she immediately felt that the atmosphere around her was different. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 785. Chapter 785 Fighting the Giant Tiger. Yan Xiangloo turned around and looked behind her. Sure enough, she had only taken a few steps in and there was no way out from behind. Turning around, the figure covering the sky can no longer be seen in front of him. Thinking of Jishan devouring the spiritual plant in Wanghai Forest, knowing that it could sense the aura and location of the spiritual plant and the divine plant, he must have gone straight to Yun Tuan to talk about the gods who, like Jishan, had not yet recovered the strength of the divine plant. Ji went. If Zetian's life is in danger, she, the master, will sense it. Now she should be alert to some dangers that may suddenly appear. After all, the miserable appearance of those 6 people was not an act. She and Zetian should just go their separate ways now. The cloud is still lying on her shoulder, motionless, but its black eyes are looking ahead. It has sensed that danger is approaching, but this is a training for its master. It cannot remind it, and can only save its master when his life is in danger. Yan Xiangluo's consciousness is not generally strong, and she has already sensed the danger coming. She stretched out her slender and white hand, and a long diamond spear appeared in her hand. It's been a long time since I've used a long caltrip gun, and I felt confident when I held it in my hand. The chalice spear is a weapon that can grow. As her cultivation level increases, the chalice spear also improves. Jin Huang's spear was longer than her height, her red skirt and hair were flying, and the cold aura from her body instantly poured out. And the danger she sensed finally appeared. A huge tiger head protruded from the branches of the lush trees in front of her. Yan Xiangluo's apricot eyes suddenly opened wide. The tiger's head was at the branch, and it was so big. How tall and big is this tiger? The beautiful apricot eyes met the tiger's eyes, and Yan Xiangluo clearly saw her small figure in the tiger's eyes. No wonder the 6 people were in such a mess. There were monsters here, and they were bigger and stronger than she knew. Before she had time to think about it, Yan Xiangluo had already risen into the air. There was nothing she could do. She couldn't fight unless she rose up in the air. The tiger's claw that had just been exposed could trample her into mud. The chalice spear in his hand is infused with spiritual energy, and the sharpness of the chalice spear is instantly revealed. Yan Xiangluo did not wait for the giant tiger to attack, and attacked first, and it was the strongest blow. She felt that if she didn't use the strongest attack, she might be killed in one blow. The cloud lay firmly on her shoulder, and the aura of the divine beast on her body had been completely restrained by it. Even the giant tiger did not notice that there was a beast on Yan Xiangluo's shoulder. After all, the body size difference is too big. Yan Xiangluo's first attack was towards the tiger's eye. Instead of passing by herself, she let the long caltrip spear in her hand fly away. But her strongest saint-level attack landed in front of the giant tiger. The giant tiger opened its mouth and let out a tiger roar. The powerful demon power broke through her attack like a hurricane. The Changling spear was immediately blocked, and then it moved back even faster. He retreated, obviously shaken back by the roaring force. But the whistling power has not stopped yet, and is coming towards Xiangluo. Although she was ready to fight back, she was still attacked by the powerful demonic hurricane and flew backwards in embarrassment. She clearly heard the sound of trees being destroyed by her body and the demonic power. She didn't even know how far she flew backwards. After the demonic power dissipated, she fell to the ground in a panic, but she didn't forget to catch the long spear. Yan Xiangluo was lying on the ground, her whole body in pain as if falling apart. She didn't dare to pause at all and quickly got up from the ground. Such a simple movement was extremely difficult for her now. She knew very well that her bones had been broken, so she immediately took out a healing pill with her mind and put it in her mouth and swallowed it. At this time, she was very happy that she was a god-level alchemist and that she was taking god-level elixirs, so the treatment was completed in the blink of an eye. Because the moment she recovered from her physical injuries, she flew up and avoided the giant tiger's claws, avoiding the fate of being trampled into mud. Facing death in such a real way, it felt like the distance to death suddenly shortened to zero, which reminded Yan Xiangluo of the scene when she collapsed on the boulder under the cliff when Yu Hunyi just returned to this world. For Yan Xiangluo, who cherishes her life, such a situation was a taboo in the past, and she would never put herself in such danger. But for the current Yan Xiangluo, her fighting spirit has been ignited, because after she came out of the Copper Tower Palace to practice the magic weapon, she needed such experience to temper her cultivation and strength. All this happened in an instant, but the cloud still lay firmly on her shoulders. Even if Xianxia fell out in a panic, its body did not move at all. There was surprise in the giant tiger's eyes. The ant in its eyes actually dodged its attacks one after another. It wondered whether it was just teasing the human race and not using its demonic power. Xianxia is very aware of the gap in strength between her own and Zhuhu. She cannot wait for the opponent to attack, otherwise she will only become more and more embarrassed. Without hesitation, she held the long diamond spear with both hands and rotated her body, running toward the giant tiger's neck and stabbing it. The speed turned into a red light, which was already the limit of her speed. Although this attack was instantaneous, she had carefully considered it. The giant tiger was too big, and even its roar hurt her so badly. The attack speed of its claws was too fast. With this height, the tiger's claws could not reach her. Hu Xiao's power is not easy to fall on her. She has thought about it. Only by fighting closely can she have an advantage. When the giant tiger saw the flying thorn Xianxia, his eyes were still filled with undisguised contempt. Even the little ants wanted to shake it. How could it be possible? I lowered my head and waited for Xianxia to enter its attack range, thinking about swallowing it directly. But when Xianxia's figure reached its entrance, he suddenly disappeared. The giant tiger was stunned. Where was the person? In fact, how could Xianxia not know that this was equivalent to being sent into the tiger's mouth? She planned the route. The moment she entered the tiger's mouth, she used the teleportation pattern to teleport herself directly into the giant tiger's body. You have to reach the level to be able to teleport. She is only at the saint level now, so she can't teleport. But she is still a mysterious pattern master. She is not as strong as Jizhong's mysterious pattern, but it is not low either. Before attacking, she can teleport. He has a teleportation mysterious pattern engraved on his body, so that he can activate the mysterious pattern and disappear in an instant. The soldiers are very fast. After Xianxia came under the giant tiger, she felt more deeply how big the giant tiger was. She didn't pause at all, and stabbed the giant tiger directly in the abdomen with the long rhombus spear in her hand. The giant tiger was just stunned for a moment before it sensed the danger in its abdomen. Although it was puzzled as to how Xianxia got to its abdomen, it did not delay its instinctive self-rescue reaction and quickly dissipated its demonic power, then lay down and thought he directly used his huge body to crush Xianxia to death. Xianxia reacted quickly, and the giant tiger's reaction was also slow. When she stabbed out with her long rhombus spear, she dared to know the oppressive demon power and the giant tiger's body pressed down. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 786. Chapter 786, Using the Flying Lotus. Xianxia curled her lips and smiled. How could she not know that her body could not withstand the power of the giant tiger and the pressure of its huge body? Enduring her internal organs that were oppressed by the demonic power and feeling uncomfortable, she used her spiritual power to protect her body, and then fell downwards with the pressure of the giant tiger's body. When the height from the ground was high enough for the Changling spear, she quickly took the Changling. The gun was stuck on the ground, and with a thought, the person entered the Pangu space. All this happened in just an instant. Xianxia's cultivation strength was not enough to resist the giant tiger's demon power, but the tenacity of the Changling spear penetrated the giant tiger directly under the pressure of the giant tiger's own demon power. Abdomen. Xianxia, who was in the Pangu space, clearly heard the giant tiger's screams mixed with anger, and uncontrollable demonic power poured out. Although she was not affected in the Pangu space, the giant tiger was stabbed by the long caltrop spear. After being hit, she instinctively jumped up and saw that the dense woods just now were instantly crushed into ruins by the monster power of the giant tiger. There was not a single tree still standing within 100 miles as far as the eye could see. This shows how powerful the giant tiger is. When the giant tiger jumped up, he used his demonic power to force out the long lance spear inserted into its abdomen. When Xianxia watched the long lance spear being forced out from the giant tiger's abdomen, he immediately came out of the pango space and caught the long lance spear. The diamond spear went straight towards the giant tiger's belly again. The injured giant tiger sensed Xianxia's aura, and its anger and hatred had reached the extreme. It was an insult to be injured by such a weak human race. The huge body of the giant tiger endured the pain and turned around flexibly, opened its huge mouth and rushed towards Xianxia to bite him. Because he was worried that she would disappear again, the two tiger paws moved towards Xianxia in a semi-enveloping state. Powerful demonic power came from all directions. If it had been anyone else, he would have either fallen into the tiger's mouth and become the food of the giant tiger, or been beaten into a pile of minced meat. However, Xianxia disappeared once again under the eyes of the giant tiger, and this time the Changling spear also disappeared. Just as Xianxia disappeared, the two claws of the giant tiger clapped together. The demonic power in anger was so powerful that it scared Xianxia's heart to tremble, but luckily he avoided it. The giant tiger screamed and fell to the ground, rolling and roaring. The two tiger claws in front were shocked by its own demonic power. Blood dripped with blood, and the flesh and blood rolled. The giant tiger rolled while holding two tiger claws in pain. "Don't dare to touch the ground." Xianxia held the long caltrop spear in her hand and punched the long caltrop spear on the ground, supporting her to stand in the pango space. Even though she had entered the pango space as quickly as possible, she was still affected by the monster power of the giant tiger. She covered her heart to hold back the fishy smell in her throat, and stuffed another healing elixir into her mouth. This was the first time she fought in such a mess, taking 2 healing pills in such a short period of time. A pair of almond-shaped eyes looked at the giant tiger writhing in pain outside, thinking about it. Xuanhuan reminded her just now that the only criterion for success in training is to kill the opponent. In other words, no matter whether she faces a spiritual beast, a monster beast, or even a human being, she must kill the opponent to be considered successful. Since Xianxia returned to this fantasy world, she has never encountered such a powerful monster. Although both calculations succeeded in injuring the giant tiger that had 2 front paws injured now has no reason to speak, and it is not easy to accurately calculate its thoughts. A bright light flashed through her almond-shaped eyes. "Let's fight." She didn't believe it. She couldn't deal with such a huge tiger that was already injured, no matter how strong it was. You cannot gain experience by relying solely on pango space to escape. Thinking of this, Xianxia immediately walked out of the pango space with a long caltrop spear in his hand, and went straight to attack the injured part of the giant tiger with the long caltrop spear in his hand. At the same time, the flying lotus she had not used for a long time was suspended above her head, and the ecstasy bell given to her by Master Qin was floating quietly below the flying lotus. The giant tiger in severe pain was no longer as responsive as before when it noticed Xianxia's aura. In addition, the 2 tiger claws in front were seriously injured and it was no longer able to attack. It was in too much pain and did not dare to land. With its huge tiger body, it was impossible to completely dodge Xianxia's attack, and it could only barely dodge the wound on its abdomen. The long lance spear pierced the giant tiger's abdomen again. Although it was not the same part, it wounded the giant tiger again. At the same time, Xianxia was also shaken away by the giant tiger's counterattack, and flew backwards without even pulling out the long spear. At this moment, the flying lotus above Xianxia's head spun, and 3 leaves flew out. Each leaf split into 3 leaves as it flew out. A total of 9 leaves rushed towards the giant tiger's huge body and attacked from different directions. The spiritual power contained in the flying lotus is already the strongest spiritual power that Xianxia can use now. The two front paws of the roaring giant tiger are seriously injured and unable to support the body in front, so he can only use his demonic power to face the 9 flying leaves. Wanting to use its demonic power to directly shatter the flying lotus leaves? But what surprised him was that the leaves of the 9 flying lotus were as thin as cicada wings, easily passing through its demonic power. The giant tiger rolled his body in fear in an attempt to avoid the 9 flying lotus leaves. Although its rolling was unstructured, it did have some effect. The 9 flying lotus leaves did not attack the main parts as Xianxia had planned before. But not a single one of the 9 flying lotus leaves was wasted, and all were submerged into the huge body of the giant tiger. Xiang was heartbroken. It was now a life or death situation. She had no choice but to fight and could not give the giant tiger another chance to resist. The power in the consciousness was mobilized, and the leaves that entered the giant tiger's body were still moving, wandering around the giant tiger's body without any rules, and all rushed towards the giant tiger's internal organs. Wherever the 9 flying lotus leaves pass, they have little destructive power but very strong damage. Because the leaves are as thin as cicada wings, the injured part is like being cut with a very sharp blade, and the wound is neat. It would be fine if it was just one injury, but the 9 flying lotus leaves kept wandering around inside the giant tiger's body, and all the damage was done to its internal organs. No matter how small the leaves were, or how huge the giant tiger's body was, they couldn't hold it. This destroys the internal organs. While flying out, Xianxia endured the injuries on her body and continued to use her mental power to control the 9 flying lotus leaves to wreak havoc in the huge body of the giant tiger. That's right, Xianxia used mental power. She knew very well that even if the giant tiger was injured, his cultivation would not be enough to resist the giant tiger's powerful demonic power, so her attack with the long caltrop spear was just an introduction, and the 9 flying lotus leaves behind were her main purpose. Since your cultivation strength is not as good as others, then use your mental strength that you are better at. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 787. Obviously Xianxia's decision was correct, but controlling 9 flying lotus leaves at the same time to cause destruction in the huge body of the giant tiger pen requires a lot of mental power. The giant tiger finally came to his senses and no longer dared to look down on Xianxia. At the same time, he also understood that he would definitely die today. He looked at Xianxia with a pair of tiger eyes with hatred, with a look of determination. Since he would definitely die, then pull her together. The giant tiger gave up resisting the 9 flying lotus leaves in his body, and his already huge body suddenly grew. Powerful demonic power burst out from its broken body, doubling the size of the giant tiger's body. Xianxia knew that Zhuhu was going to blow himself up, and a solemn look flashed in his apricot eyes. At this moment, the swollen giant tiger didn't care about the pain of its injured front paw. It jumped up with all its strength, and its huge body fell in front of Xianxia. Xianxia's apricot eyes suddenly erupted with a cold light. Not to mention that the giant tiger was so close to her now, even if it was in its previous position, it would not be able to survive the self-destruction. Even if she could hide in Pangu space, she was not sure whether Pangu space could withstand the power of the giant tiger's self-destruction, and she would not take the risk. Xianxia quickly input some spiritual power into herself. At this time, her spiritual power was almost exhausted, but she could still teleport her away by activating the teleportation pattern on her body. At the moment when the giant tiger self-destruct, Xianxia teleported himself hundreds of miles away. Even so, she was not confident that she would not be injured, but she had no way to do it. Now her spiritual power could only activate the teleportation pattern to send her so far away. Therefore, as soon as she landed on the ground, she entered the Pangu space. Even though he moved so fast, he was still shaken by the power of the giant tiger's self-destruction and fell to the ground in Pangu space. The whole space seemed to be about to turn over, and it trembled for a while before stopping. Xianxia was lying on the ground in Pangu space. At this time, her mental power was too much, her spiritual power was almost exhausted, and she was still injured. However, she couldn't care about it at this time. She was distressed about her Changling spear and Xuanhuan flying lotus leaf, no, actually 9 flying lotus leaves? The power of the giant tiger's self-destruction was so strong that she was moved 100 meters away and was knocked to the ground in the Pangu space. Can the flying lotus leaves and long caltrip spears in the giant tiger's body survive? If they were all destroyed and her flying lotus was incomplete, how could she explain it to her ancestor Mu Changling? The more I thought about it, the more uncomfortable I felt, and tears welled up in my eyes. At this moment, she heard the voice of someone speaking outside the space. Hey, did the battle just end here, and the humans and animals died together? What is that golden stick? When Xianxia heard the words Xuanhuan, he immediately got up from the ground and looked outside the space. He saw that what they were talking about was the long diamond spear exposed on the ground. She was immediately happy. The long rhombus spears were still there, and she could save each one. Seeing the 3 people outside walking towards the Changling spear, Xianxia immediately left the space and took back the Changling spear with the thought, along with the flying lotus leaves? This was really an unexpected surprise. The flying lotus leaf was not damaged by the explosion. She just saw that the Changling gun was not damaged by the giant tiger's self-explosion, so she thought that maybe the flying lotus leaf was not damaged either, so she wanted to collect it together. Return. Actually, I just gave it a try, but I didn't expect that the flying lotus leaves were not damaged by the explosion. The 3 people who were running towards the Changling spear saw that Jinwang's stick was missing and sensed someone's presence. They suddenly turned around and looked behind them, and saw Yu Xianglio, who looked like a beggar. Hair is dirty, the red dress on her body is so damaged that she can barely maintain the dignity of the dress, and her face is also dirty. Did you take our treasure? One of the men looked at Xianxia and saw that she didn't have much spiritual energy on her body. He knew that her spiritual energy had been exhausted. Xianxia sneered, when did my weapon become your treasure? Shameless people are not uncommon. This is the first time I have seen shameless people like you. The other party did not expect that Xianxia was already like this and dared to provoke them. What's wrong with being shameless? What we want is the treasure. Brothers, come on, she has no spiritual power. We stole her gift ring and we will divide the treasure equally. Whichever of you likes it can go to whoever you like. The man became more and more shameless as he spoke. Xianxia narrowed her eyes and looked at the 3 people opposite her. She thought that her spiritual power was exhausted and she was just meat on the sticky board. Who was also slaughtered. It's just that she's not sure whether these 3 people are a test for her, or whether they are simply meeting people who have also come in for experience. The other man chuckled, brother, I won't be polite. I've been here to practice for so many days, but on the first day I met a woman, I was thinking about going into the woods to rest and got lost, which was a waste of time. Now I'm wasting some time, it's worth it. Xianxia is sure that the other party is not a test for her here, so let's keep their lives alive and fight to the death here. She knows very well that if the place of training cannot be passed, people will not really die, but will only exist in a static space, and then be sent out together with other people who have experienced it when the time is up. Although the 3 of them were not good people if they made rude remarks, she did not want each other's life. After all, after entering here to experience, it was unlikely that they would be able to get out based on their character. She didn't want to get human lives on her hands unless it was absolutely necessary. Therefore, she didn't wait for the other party to make a move, and Felian was summoned by her again. The enchanting bell was given to her by Master Qin He. She had not used it on anyone yet, so today was a good opportunity. The 3 of them saw that she could still summon things, but what kind of weapon was this golden lotus? Wasn't her weapon a golden stick before? How to become a golden lotus? Is this the same weapon? No one practices two weapons at the same time, right? This lotus flower looks like a girl's toy, with a small golden bell tied underneath. It doesn't look like a deterrent weapon. The three of them looked at the golden lotus on the head of Xianxia in confusion, then looked at each other and laughed at the same time. Even laughed to the point of tears. Are you kidding me? Xianxia glanced at the three of them coldly. You will soon know what I am going to do. The three of them were stunned, and they all stopped smiling and looked warily at Xianxia and the flying lotus above her head. I thought to myself that this little girl never showed any fear from the beginning to the end. Could it be that this golden lotus is really some kind of amazing weapon? Could it be that they are blind and cannot see it? However, none of the three felt that Xianxia had any fighting ability at this time. Even if she had powerful weapons, she could not use them with much strength. Weapons and the owner's strength are complementary to each other. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 788. The stronger the owner of a weapon of the same level, the stronger the weapon. Similarly, when the owner's strength weakens, the power of the weapon will also weaken. In other words, the power of the weapon is actually determined by the strength of the owner. But they don't know that Xianxia's flying lotus can be controlled not only with spiritual power, but also with mental power. Even though her mental strength was very high at this time, her mental strength was not comparable to theirs. No one has conquered anyone who has more spiritual power than Xianxia. Just after Xianxia spoke, the three of them saw the golden lotus turning, and the small bell hanging under the lotus also swayed, making a sweet sound as it swayed. The sound of the bell does not sound offensive at all. On the contrary, it is very comfortable to listen to, making it difficult for people to resist. After the three people heard the bell, their eyes gradually changed. Xianxia did not expect that the effect of the ecstasy bell would be so obvious. As long as people heard the sound of the bell, they would be immediately confused, without the slightest doubt or struggle. Although the three people on the opposite side are not at the level, they are also at the 7th or 8th level of the holy level. Although the people who enter the training ground are not considered strong in cultivation, if they are not on the mainland, their cultivation and talent are not considered low. Many monks will not reach this level of cultivation throughout their lives, but their character is not very good. Go and practice, Xianxia said 4 words softly. With the sound of the ecstasy bell, the three of them memorized the 4 words of Xianxia in their hearts, muttering go and practice, and then turned around and walked deeper into the woods. Until the three people were no longer visible, Xianxia put away the flying lotus, and the ecstasy bell also became quiet. No matter how the flying lotus moved, it would not make a sound. It's not that she's kind, and she's not from the mainland. She may barely notice the person they meet again. Although the other person's words are rude and his character is not bad, she still won't let him die. There is a punishment more terrible than death. Xianxia sat on the ground tiredly, not caring that she was dirty and miserable, nor did she mind the bad smell around her. After the giant tiger exploded, the surroundings were in a mess. If you looked down from the air, you could see a huge ruin-like circle, with a dirty and ugly girl sitting in the center. Xianxia took a deep breath. This was not the place to stay. Her spiritual power is almost exhausted now. Although her spiritual power is still good, she can only deal with monks below the level. If she encounters someone with a level above, the consequences will definitely be worse. Meeting a giant tiger is even worse. Now she was mainly recovering her spiritual and mental strength. She stood up and walked unsteadily into the woods in front of her, in the opposite direction to the three of them. After walking for a while, we stepped into the woods, and the air in our breath finally became fresh. She looked back at the battlefield just now, which had disappeared. Behind her were stretches of woods, dense trees, and lush weeds. as if her previous battle with the giant tiger was just her hallucination. It seems that this training place will automatically recover once it is over. She felt sorry for the destroyed trees before, but now she feels a little stupid. After her experience, I wonder what happened to her parents and Jijishong. She didn't know if her father and mother were separated, but she wasn't worried about her father and Jijishong. Not only were they both very smart and their cultivation levels were above the level, they only had to face the challenges in the training ground. Danger, from monks, is very rare. Even if you meet a strong person, you should still worry about him. What she is worried about is her mother. If she is separated from her father, she will be in the same situation. Thinking that her mother was a heavenly master and her sense of danger was stronger than ordinary people, Yu Xianluo restrained her thoughts. Now they could only rely on themselves, and there was no point in worrying. Yun Tuan has been lying on her shoulder obediently. Although he was a little worried when he saw her condition, he did not interfere with her in any way. Yan Xiangluo looked at the dense trees around and said to Yun Tuan, do you think it's better for me to recover my spiritual power outside or go into Pangu space? It stands to reason that it would be absolutely safe for her to go into Pangu space to recover her spiritual power, but she had an idea in her heart that she would gain more if she recovered her spiritual power outside. Yun Tuan saw her asking this question and understood what she meant. She was a heavenly master herself, so it was normal for her to sense something. Master, it is naturally better to recover spiritual power outside, but it will be very dangerous outside, Yun Tuan said matter-of-factly. Yan Xiangluo smiled, I came here to gain experience, not to avoid danger. How can I gain experience without danger? But she couldn't just sit on the ground and recover her spiritual power without any protection. Wouldn't that be courting death? She pondered for a moment, then looked up at the lush canopy above her head. Go to the tree. She could simply set up a defensive formation to restore her spiritual power. If someone found her, attacking her defensive formation would at least replace her. She resisted for a moment and had time to prepare. Now she has no spiritual power at all and cannot fly in the air, so she can only climb up with the strength of her own body. Fortunately, she has also cultivated her vitality, otherwise it would be a luxury to climb a tree now. But this time she also experienced it personally. After the spiritual energy is exhausted, even if her body has vitality to support it, her body will still be very tired. Of course, if she used her vitality to fight, her physical fatigue would not be so obvious. This should be the difference between a warrior who purely cultivates vitality and a monk who cultivates vitality. After all, warriors who purely cultivate their vitality are in better physical condition. Yan Xiangluo gathered her strength and climbed up the tree. Although her speed was a little slow, she climbed up smoothly. She found a place where the main trunk of a tree branched out to set up a defensive formation. Because the area to be defended was small, it didn't take long to set up a defensive formation. However, she used her vitality and spiritual power to set up the formation, because when she was setting up the formation, she remembered that she had no spiritual power at all, and wondered if she could use her vitality. The formation with mental power was really successful, but she still didn't know how far the defensive ability of the formation could be achieved. To be on the safe side, she carved a defensive mysterious pattern on the formation. Carving the mysterious pattern requires mental strength, and she is still very clear about the effect of the mysterious pattern she carved. After getting everything ready, she cleaned herself up, put on a red dress, sat down cross-legged, and began to restore her spiritual power. At the same time, she also used spiritual power techniques to restore her spiritual power. Yan Xiangluo has no hope of improving her cultivation level. After all, she has now entered the last level of the Pangu flower blooming technique. Her cultivation speed will be extremely slow, and she can only break through and advance if she encounters a great opportunity. Hence the cultivation state of mind is very calm, and it is just to restore spiritual and mental strength. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 789. As soon as Xianxia started practicing, Xuanhuan noticed that the surrounding aura fluctuated significantly, and the spiritual energy in the woods rushed towards Xianxia. And the speed is getting faster and faster, and the cloud can almost clearly feel the spiritual energy twisting into a thick stream and hovering around the owner, and then pouring into the body from all parts of her body. Perfectly avoiding it, the mythical beast lying on her shoulder, its aura was as if it had eyes. Although it cannot be seen with the naked eye, it can be clearly perceived by the mental power. Although it has seen its master's incredible speed and amount of spiritual energy absorbed during cultivation many times, it was still shocked this time. Sure enough, how could he be an ordinary genius to become its master? It had never underestimated its master before it recovered its divine beast cultivation and memory, and it would not underestimate its master after it recovered. The person who becomes its owner is not just lucky. Xuanhuan's dark eyes moved. When the owner came in before, there was no one here at all. Now he can clearly sense that there are no less than 16 people in this training place, all coming in front and back. Of course, this does not include the 3 people who were tricked by the master just now using the ecstasy bell. Someone made such a big noise. I don't know how long it will take for those people to discover it. The reason why I think this is because it is impossible not to be discovered by others. Because Xuanhuan discovered that the spiritual energy in the entire training place was gathering towards its owner. Even if this experience is great, those people who notice the surge of spiritual energy will immediately follow the direction of the surge of spiritual energy and find it. It won't take long. Even if someone is trapped by the experience he is going through, it is impossible for everyone to be trapped. Should it intervene? Looking at Xianxia, Xuanhuan decided to lie down quietly. The master only has 1 month to practice, and her master is now at the 3rd level of the Pangu flower blooming technique. Only real training is the greatest help to her. As long as the master breaks through to the level, he will be officially practicing the Pangu flower blooming technique. At that time, the master's advancement speed will be really scary. Since Xianxia has been practicing, it has been easy to enter the realm every time she practices. Even on the Pangu level card, it has never been difficult to absorb spiritual energy. However, her body is like a bottomless pit, which requires a lot of spiritual energy. It is not easy to meet the promotion conditions. She discovered this during the 2nd level, so she never delayed her practice. She felt that the 3 levels of Pangu Kung Fu she practiced only required more spiritual energy than people of the same level. For example, if someone absorbed 1 portion of spiritual energy to advance, she would need 10 or even 100 or 1,000 copies to advance. That's why it's called a level, and it's difficult to break through. So she was not as anxious when entering the 3rd level of Pangu flower blooming as she was when entering the 2nd level. As long as she practiced hard and accumulated spiritual energy, she would reach it eventually. The critical moment is the moment when you finally break through to the level. The required spiritual energy must be enough at one time, and you can just practice normally. It's just that for others, her normal cultivation is a state of envy and jealousy, and she absorbs more spiritual energy than normal people's cultivation every time. Especially after her spiritual power was exhausted. Xianxia entered the realm of cultivation. Unexpectedly, everyone in the training place was alarmed by the fluctuation of spiritual energy. Sure enough, as expected by Xuanhuan, except for the monks who were inseparable during the experience, all the monks who were not trapped followed the direction of the spiritual energy flow. However, no one thought that it was someone practicing that caused such a big commotion, and they all thought that a treasure was about to be born. There is nothing wrong with thinking this way. Everyone knows that treasures appear in every place where you gain experience. Any monk who comes in for training will receive direct rewards as long as he passes the training. Because they know this, everyone is very anxious. Treasures like this that are not direct rewards are, without exception, unique treasures in the world. Since you meet someone who is willing to miss it, you naturally want to rush to the place where the treasure was born as quickly as possible. Some of the strong men above the level who were practicing around the place where Yan Xianglue was practicing also sensed the surge of spiritual energy in this direction. They all sped up their training speed, wanting to see what was going on in the training place. There was such a big movement, and they could feel it even while they were training inside. Yan Xiangluo's dual-purpose practice does not affect the recovery of both powers at all. On the contrary, I feel that the more I practice, the smoother it becomes, and my two powers recover very quickly. The faster she recovers, the stronger the aura surges in the place of experience. The aura surging around her place of strength becomes stronger and stronger, and the area it spreads out becomes wider and wider. The range of spiritual energy coming from the center of where she was slowly expanding to the first training place. This has alarmed more and more experienced people, including people from all continents. At this time, many people who came from the 9UN continent learned a lot of information because they kept meeting people from other continents, and they discovered that although the 9UN continent was a high-level continent, its position in the high-level continent was the lowest. Each continent has an opportunity to come in for training once a year, and anyone who meets the conditions can come in. Only their 9UN continent does so once every 3 years, and only one person can come in. This time, if Jijukong didn't have a magic weapon like portable space, they wouldn't have had the chance to come in with so many people. With this comparison, they already know the strength of their continent. A group of God-level experts will appear every year. Those above the God level will become stronger, and people will continue to ascend and leave the mainland for the 9 heavens. The more I get to know them, the heavier my heart becomes. Leaving the mainland and being among the complicated people from all continents, the people of Zhuyuan continent are a whole and take care of each other. If they are in the same place of experience, they will be more caring than relatives in the past. There must be unity among them. After all, in the context of the entire continent, personal grudges no longer matter. Leaving aside the gains in cultivation from this experience, the change in the mentality of these people is already a huge unexpected gain. Jijuzhong was also in a training place at this time. The training place for people who have cultivated above the level is different from those who have cultivated below the level. It can be said that it is not just about training your cultivation, but also the main thing is to experience your state of mind. The stronger you are, the more important your state of mind is. If your state of mind cannot reach that level, even if your talent is good, it will be difficult to reach an ascending cultivation level. Therefore, in the land of experience, people who have cultivated above the level can change between their cultivation strength and their state of mind at will, making it difficult for you to distinguish whether they are practicing their cultivation or their state of mind. Jijuzhong was no exception. He had just come out of a place of experience. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 790. At this time, Jijuzhong was wearing a snow-white brocade robe embroidered with silver dark patterns, and the original color could no longer be seen, and his black hair was extremely dirty. If the white jade crown that bound his hair was not still there, he would have looked like a madman. Although he looked embarrassed, his phoenix eyes became more and more sharp. He closed his eyes for a moment, and when he opened them again, the sharp light in Jijuzhong's eyes was completely restrained, making him so peaceful that no one could see his emotions. At this time, some people passing by saw him suddenly appearing and knew that he had just come out of the training ground. They wanted to rob him, but when they saw the strong coercion emanating from him, they all chose to continue on their way. Such a person is the last person to be messed with, as anyone who has been in here knows. Xuanhuan calmly tidied himself up in the gaze of passers-by, changed into clean clothes, and thought about where to go next and where to land. His main purpose in coming in was to help Luoluo pass the first level of Pangu flower, but he didn't expect to be separated as soon as he came in, and completely separated, the kind of person. At this moment, Xuanhuan suddenly felt that the spiritual energy was surging in one direction, and the amount was very large. He suddenly turned his head and looked in the direction of the surging spiritual energy. This feeling was too familiar to him. This will happen every time Luoluo exhausts his spiritual energy and absorbs spiritual energy to restore his spiritual energy. That petite body seems to contain a bottomless pit. Why didn't he suspect that some treasure was about to be born, but instead suddenly thought that it was the effect created by Yanxiangluo? The reason is very simple. There is a pattern when Yanxiangluo absorbs spiritual energy. This pattern is indescribable, but Xuanhuan can sensitively sense the specialness. Xuanhuan's beautiful phoenix eyes burst out with joy. He had always been worried about her. After all, her cultivation level was the lowest among the people who came in. Although there are many methods and there is Pangu space, when you encounter a truly strong person, you have no chance to use them. Xuanhuan immediately rose into the air and ran towards the direction where the spiritual energy was surging. He knew very well that the direction of the spiritual energy surge was far away from him, and he could sense that many people in the entire training place had probably sensed it. No matter what the reason is, curiosity and greed are something that no one can suppress. No matter what they think, they will rush to where Luoluo is, and the strong ones are no exception. Luoluo would be in danger, and he had to get to her as quickly as possible. Yanxiangluo's spiritual power has been restored to half, and her cultivation is still continuing. At this time, 8 of the dozen or so people at her training place came to her training place. Seeing the scene in front of them, the 8 people opened their mouths and eyes in shock, with unified expressions as if they had discussed it in advance. It's no wonder they were shocked. At this time, Yanxiangluo herself didn't even know that the tree she was sitting on had been wrapped in a huge spiritual vortex. All trees within 10 meters are within the scope of the spiritual whirlpool. The 8 people cannot get close to it due to their luck and spiritual power, so they can only watch from 10 meters away. Such a scene made them even more sure that some unique treasure was about to be born. The 8 people don't know each other, but they all know in their hearts that more and more people will come here, and they don't know what the treasure is yet. They can be sure that there won't be many. How can there be so many peerless treasures? They are lucky to have even one. Hence, they are all competition targets, but now it is an opportunity for the 8 of them. After all, there are only 8 of them and there are not many competition targets. Which continent are you from? One of the men asked. It doesn't matter which continent you are from. What matters now is how to get the treasure. Who can get the treasure? Another man directly expressed the common thoughts of the 8 people. Time is their opportunity now, and they don't want to waste a moment of respite. If they hadn't been able to get in, none of them would be standing here now. No one should be hiding anything. Anyone who has a way can tell me. The 8 of us will work together to find a way to get in first. When we see the treasure, we will all rely on our own abilities. The man who was the latest to ask which continent these people are from also said bluntly. He said bluntly. Okay, the other 7 people said in unison. Since an agreement was reached, the 8 people began to study it. The spiritual energy vortex is so strong that even if we can enter it, our body cannot bear it. We need to think of a way first. How can we enter it safely? It is up to each individual to ensure their safety when entering. After all, none of us know what kind of treasure is inside and how dangerous it is. There should be only one way to get in. Everyone was talking, but none of them got to the most important point. The man who asked the question last brought the topic onto the right track. What can be done? The other 7 people asked in unison. Let's use our spiritual power to build up a protective layer of spiritual power together, and then walk inside together until we reach the innermost point without using any protective layer. The reason why the man wanted to get the 7 people to cooperate was to use them to get in. As long as he got in, he would have a way to get rid of the 7 people and get the treasure alone. The 7 people hesitated after hearing his words. This requires 8 people to trust each other very much. If one of them wants to take action against the others, they will be unable to guard against it. After all, we don't know each other, and we don't have that much trust between each other. What do you think of this? The 8 of us will first make an oath to support the spiritual protective layer together. No one can attack anyone during the process of entering. How about this? The man who came up with the idea said again. He has already thought about it, and he does not trust the 7 people. Only in this way can he ensure that they will not be attacked by any of them when they go in. You guys make a decision quickly, we don't have much time to waste, others will come soon, the man reminded the 7 people again. The 7 people looked at each other and knew that what the man said was the truth and that there was no better way than this. They all nodded, okay. 8 people made an oath together, then formed a circle back to back and used their spiritual energy to prop up the spiritual protective layer, and then tried to walk inside together. As soon as they touched the aura vortex, they were bounced back. The man who came up with the idea shouted, if you don't have enough energy, don't hold anything back now. If we relax even a little bit when we get in, we may die in there. After listening to the man's words, the 7 people increased their spiritual power output, and the protective layer became stronger. This time the 8 of them tried to walk into the spiritual whirlpool and actually walked in. They were all overjoyed. It was indeed possible. It's just that they walked extremely slowly, and found that the further they walked inside, the stronger the spiritual energy vortex became, and they always felt like they were about to be swept up by the spiritual energy vortex and fly out.